seeing that it was a comedy, it only screams Madea clone. And that's what I thought I was going to get, another Madea movie. Welcome to Cine Here, where you come for all of your media needs. My name is Ray, and today I am reviewing A Honk for Jesus to Save Your Soul, directed by Adana Abel and Adama Abel in their directorial debut, starring Regina Hall and Sterling K. Brown. Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul is a film about Lee Curtis Childs and his wife, Trendy Childs, who was played by Sterling K. Brown and Regina Hall, as they attempt to rebuild and rebrand their megachurch that has recently fallen or was closed because of a big scandal that happened dealing with the pastor. Growing up in church myself, I can relate to some of the themes and topics that they talked about in this movie. I am not going to go on any religious rant. I'm not going to give my own opinions about how I feel about religion or God. That's not what this review is for. This review is about this film. And I think that this film is meant to point out the hypocrisies, not only mega churches, but the religion and the people involved in the religion. That is what the film was going for. And that is also what I heard the directors speak on in the interview as well. So that's not my own point. That is a point that I've seen in the film, and that is a point that they spoke on themselves. And you can really see that in this film. I thought that this was just going to be a Madea spinoff. I'm not going to lie. I thought they were, when I seen that this was a satirical comedy, I thought they were going to go the route as Madea, especially when you're playing into the church crowd, as this movie, as I thought that this movie was doing after watching the trailer and seeing that it was a comedy. It only screams Madea clone. And that's what I thought I was going to get, another Madea movie. But boy, was I so far away from the truth. This film surprised me a lot. I really did not think I was going to enjoy this film at all. I was dreading going to watch this movie. I literally was only going to watch it to give you guys a review, but I'm actually glad I did, because this movie subverted my expectations of what I was going into looking for. And I think it will subvert yours as well. The director's choice of making Lee Curtis Childs want a documentary about their rise of the church again, and was brilliant. I think that we got a lot of great close-up shots. We got a lot of great monologuing, and we also got a story that was about the rise of this megachurch, but really getting to see the underbelly of what is really going on and what they really are trying to get over as far as the scandal is concerned. Because the umbrella of this being a documentary means that you can kind of push the cameras away. You can kind of speak on things that are being filmed. You know how they constantly are always in your face. Like, oh, let me use the restroom. Let me get a bit of privacy. They play into that as well in this film, and I like that. You got to see the characters outside of it just being a movie. It almost felt like you were watching a real live documentary of what was really going on. And I think that was brilliant by the directors to implement that into this movie. If you thought for some odd reason that Regina Hall was not a good actress, if you forever thought or got Regina Hall mixed up with Taraji or called her little sister or thought they were sisters, I did at one point. But if you ever thought any of those things, I can definitely say she put a lot of that to bed in this movie. She was phenomenal. She was phenomenal in this film. She blew me away. I'm not gonna lie, she blew me away. I'm not saying that this is like the best actor I've ever seen in my life, but what I am saying is she did a damn good job of laying that performance down in this film, especially in some of her monologuing that she had to do, some of the close-ups because of the great camera work that was done. Like, they played into her strengths. They really did show off her ability to act, and this movie is the pinnacle of that for her. So any role going forward that she's trying to get, her agent needs to send this movie out as one of those ones to say, this is what my actress can bring to the table, and this is what you need to have in your film. And I don't think that this film has such a heavy-handed approach at kind of pointing out some of the hypocrisies that go on in the megachurch space, right? I think that they did a good job of kind of like highlighting those things while not trying to be offensive to the people that are actually out there doing the good work. And I think that's a fine line that they kind of had to skate on, and they did a good job of, I guess, not pushing the apple cart fully over, but just showing that there is or can be some things that don't always add up with some of the people that are in these spaces. The film also did a good job of balancing the humor while also trying to be serious and more of the serious moments in this film, because this film does kind of touch on some serious things. And the fact that they took those serious things seriously when they were there, I thought was great. I cannot also speak so highly of the directors in this film. I also think they did a really good job of navigating through these murky waters, and again, not trying to push too much in the wrong direction. And movie had funny moments, but I also wouldn't say that this was a comedy. This felt way more serious than it did funny. It does have hints of comedy in it. Comedy probably the second word that I put, not the first. Usually you got an action comedy, right? Sometimes movies are comedies actions. They don't call it that because that sounds stupid. But sometimes they are more funny than they are action packed. And I think this movie was a way more serious, way more drama than it was actually comedy. So let's talk about the bad of this film. I know I've been speaking so highly of the directorial choices. I've been speaking so highly of the actors. But let's talk about some of the negatives in this film. Let's start with the third act. I think that the end of this film left a lot to be desired. I think it was a little bit abrupt. I wish I would have got more of a payoff for the hour and 40 minutes that I watched. I wish they would have gave me a lot more at the end of the film. I do. I think that the film could almost even been maybe 10 to 15 minutes longer if necessary to kind of flush that ending out and make it pow, right? It didn't leave you with that pow. I didn't leave the theater with that feeling of like, yeah, this was really great because of how the movie ended. I left the theater thinking that this was a good movie, but I didn't leave the theater thinking it was a great movie because it didn't have that umph at the end of it. Because of the choices that the directors made of making this more of a documentary style film, it leaves a lot to be desired of a lot of other characters in this film that in my opinion, didn't get properly fleshed out because of the way they wanted to make this movie. And so at times, other characters can almost feel like empty, right? It's almost like we are getting the superficial versions of these characters and not really getting in depth with some of these extra characters outside of the two main people because of some of the choices that the directors decided to make. And with saying that, I would probably also even make the point that this movie might have even been better as a limited series, because then you could have kept that like directorial style and made it kind of like for lack of a, coming off top of the head, kind of like a Tiger King's vibe. Well, in that, you could have fleshed out the characters a lot more, and this would have went from being a good movie to maybe even a great series. In conclusion, I can see maybe a lot of people maybe not liking this film, and not because the film wasn't good, but because a lot of people do not like to see the underbelly of something that they love, right? They don't like to see the dark side of, or some of the darker sides of things that they care about. And if this movie was attempting to bring in the church crowd, I don't know if they will be so fond of what they see in this film. I would have to give this film a 7.8 out of 10. I think that this film is something that is worth watching, and I really do hope that they get the money. I really do hope that people go out and support a film like this, because I think that the directors did such a great job of directing this film, and I think the actors did such a good job of acting this film, that this is something that is worth watching for all of the people that love good movies. I think that this movie is good. If you enjoy my reviews, make sure that you give this a like. I really would appreciate that. If you also want to see more of what I do, more reviews and other content I provide, make sure you subscribe or follow so that you can get more of my content in the future. So let me know what you think about Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul. If you plan on watching this film, I definitely want to know your opinion. And if after watching this review, you are not going to watch this film, let me know why not. I want to know, why have you decided to not watch this film as well? And don't forget, you seen it here.